Thorny, as we venture into the R&R, two truths are consistent. We love our dear Montana state, and we love great beer. And you know who else feels the same? Jeremiah Johnson Brewing. Brewed in the heart of Montana in downtown Great Falls, Jeremiah Johnson takes Montana's finest ingredients to craft some of Montana's favorite beers. And now, Jeremiah Johnson's second tap room is open in downtown Coeur d'Alene. Their Citra IPA is probably one of my favorites. But we all know, Thorny, you're not the hop lover I am. You're more of a mountain man Scotch ale.
Well, Foley, I'm certainly not a mountain man, but you are right. I do love their Mountain Man Scotch Ale. But come game day, you and I are both cracking their Golden Bobcat Pale Ale. So when you're looking for a quality craft beer brewed with Montana roots, a relaxing tap room, or just a six-pack to take to your favorite Bobcat tailgate, Jeremiah Johnson delivers. Make your next beer a Jeremiah Johnson, and as always, go Cats.
Welcome, everybody, to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right. Welcome back, Bobcat fans, and thanks for joining us on another episode of the R&R Catcast. My name is Ryan Foley. I'm one of your hosts. Across the state from me is my good buddy, Ryan Thornburg. We are the Ryans of the R&R Catcast, the Montana State podcast of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And we are brought to you by Jeremiah Johnson Brewing, brewing dank beers in downtown Great Falls, the second tap room over in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Thorny, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing well, and before I pass it back to you, you always say, welcome in Bobcat fans. I'm going to say, welcome in Griz fans, because I'm sure there are going to be a few extra Griz fan listeners listening to this podcast, looking to sop up some Bobcat tears. So welcome in Griz fans. Thanks for listening. Thanks for padding the stats. How are you doing?
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about the Cat Griz game. We also are going to talk about, the upcoming playoffs and the news, who Montana State might play, and kind of preview some matchups there. So that should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So we'll go through, I think, the grieving process with Cat Griz, and we'll transition to some actual optimistic future outlook as we head towards the playoffs. Should be a fun episode. Well, should be an episode. It'll be good. It'll be a good episode.
It'll be a good episode. If you need some catharsis, now's the time. Just sit back and relax, because we'll probably have all the feels. We'll go through them all, and we'll put it behind us, and we'll move on. So
promise myself I wouldn't cry.
It's my hope, man. I hope I can get it all out here today, because still, Monday night, I'm still feeling it. I don't know about you, Ryan.
I am too, but lots to look forward to.
All right. Hey, let's get into what's in our golden coolies. Why don't you start off?
I got the Rogue Dreamland, bringing that back. I still got some in my fridge. It is an American lager. I've had it on the show before. Still liking it. Still got some left. In fact, I think I bought another 6-pack. This might be my second 6-pack of it, so I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Well, prematurely, I had bought one of my favorite beers, the celebration beer, as you call it, the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
That's why we lost?
I don't know. It could be. I had thought about that. I was like, I want to have it after the game. You don't want to wait for the win and then go buy it. You want to have it in your fridge, ready to go. And someone has to drink it. I guess that's me. So, still a great beer. It's making me feel better.
I was thinking that we may have lost because of my, the Gold Rush t-shirt superstition that I have on where I don't wash it. I wear it every game and I don't wash it until we lose. And I was kind of hiding it under my bed, which sounds really gross, and I'll admit that. But my wife found it, and I couldn't find it. I was like, "Where is it?" And she had it in like the dirty clothes hamper. I had to pull it out of there and put it back on. But I think the damage may have already been done. It made it to the laundry basket. That's as good as the good luck of it was already washed away at that point. So that could be that part. It could be a combination of you buying a celebration beer early and me just not being able to find my Gold Rush shirt until it was too late.
Yeah, I like the idea of using your wife as a scapegoat for this. Poor Val.
Yeah, she doesn't listen. I mean, she's just trying to clean my clothes. There's nothing wrong.
I like how you had it hiding underneath your bed. That's the best part. Just soaking in all that vim that you put into it for the last couple.
Yeah,
like,
we'll
10
use that
weeks.
word. We'll just use that word. That's vim. It's just full of vim. Clean vim.
Oh man. Oh gosh, that's good.
See, I'm
stuff,
feeling
buddy.
better already.
But now we have to change our outfits, right? Because the shirt I was wearing the last couple weeks with the wins, we didn't win, so I'm not going to wear that shirt. I already thought about that today. It's like I'm going to have some new Bobcat shirts going, and we'll see what happens with the flag. I might have to change out to my other Montana State flag. I don't know, man. Now I have to rethink this stuff. Important things.
Yep, I got a shirt that I wore to the Weber State game. I haven't worn it again, so that's my plan. It's 1 for 1.
See, I have this new up top shirt, a Montana State up top shirt that has the Bobcat stadium, but I didn't wear it. I wanted to wear it, but I didn't wear it because the up top guys are Grizzlies, right?
Yep,
they're
that's
former
right. Yeah,
Grizz players.
Anderson,
and I was like,
right?
Yeah, I think that's who it is. I couldn't think of it at the moment, so I was like, there's a little connection to the Grizzlies, and so can't do that.
I avoided Missoula beers on Saturday. Didn't matter.
Oh no! You know what? I should get some moose drool here soon. It's turning about that time of the year where moose drool just feels right.
Agreed.
All right. Hey, let's talk about some news.
We got some good news.
Well, hit me with it. Tell me about it.
Well, Brent Vigen was named to the Eddie Robinson Award as a finalist for the Eddie Robinson Award, which is the FCS Coach of the Year. Troy Anderson is named a finalist for the Buck Buchanan Award, which is the Defensive Player of the Year. And then Isaiah Afonso was named as a finalist to the Walter Payton Award. So congrats to all three guys for being finalists for the respective best in their position, coaching, whatever, in the entire FCS. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's huge. Nice job. Also looks like you put in the document that Jake Vigen, son of Coach Brent Vigen, committed to the Cats. That happened earlier on this week. I'm not exactly certain what position he is going to be playing for the Cats.
I'm not sure what he projects as. It says he played quarterback when he was in North Dakota, but he moved over here and he played on the line. So I think he might be like a defensive end kind of hybrid kind of guy, maybe a linebacker. We'll see. I think defense is where he's going to end up at.
Nice. All righty. Other than that, not much on the injury front. Ty Okada has, Coach Vigen says at least he's going to be back in 2 weeks. So I know it's something going on with his shoulder, but that's all I really know.
Yeah, I didn't catch all the press conference. This is all I've heard. I don't think we got banged up anywhere else. I mean, besides Isaiah Afonso not looking full strength, so he'll have 2 weeks to heal. I don't think anyone else got more injured or newly injured in the game besides maybe Ty Okada. Right. Could be wrong.
Let's talk about the FCS Stats Poll, the final FCS Stats Poll that came out. And let me pull it up right here.
I think
the Montana State Bobcats. Yeah, we came in at 7. That's cool with me. That's about where I thought the Cats would finish this year. I want to give props to you, Thorny. You predicted a 9-2 record. You were spot on, man. I was at 8-3. So, well done, my friend.
I win. You owe me
podcast mate.
You owe me just applause on our podcast, which you just did. So thank you. It's not exactly how I would have predicted it. And in full disclosure, if you remember on that episode, I was going to pick us losing to the Griz, which would have put us 8-3, but I decided we'll never do this on this podcast, no matter how I really feel about it. So I ended up going 9-2. So, woo. But right about where we thought we'd be.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Eastern Washington rocketed all the way up to number 4. Although I guess they were only at 5 last week. Montana ends up at number 5. They jumped up from 7, and we dropped from 3 to 7. Sac State, the Big Sky Conference champion right there, sits right behind us at number 8 at 9-2 as well. And UC Davis rounds out the Big Sky 14 with 8-3 record. All 5 teams from the Big Sky in the top 25 got into the playoffs. So that's good for the news in itself.
Yeah, it's great for the Big Sky. And I think they're all deserving. Davis has been sliding. I don't know if they'll go anywhere, but they deserve to be in with their record and their resume.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, did you do any Big Sky Power rankings?
Yep, no. Especially not after this
I didn't
one.
either, man.
No.
I punted it. I was like,
curled up in
I don't
a
even
ball,
want
just crying all day long. So definitely did not vote. Didn't even cross my mind.
I would have put Sac State first, though. I think they deserve it.
Yeah, I could see that. I would have put Sac, probably the Griz. 1, 2.
Yeah.
Eastern 3.
Mm-hmm.
Cats 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
All right.
Who's 5?
Davis, I guess.
Yeah, Davis.
Not loving him, but don't know who else to put there. Maybe Weber.
Did we already say Eastern?
Yeah, I did. It'd have been 3rd.
Oh, okay. I was going to agree. I was just agreeing with you the whole time, so.
I mean, basically, the top 5 is the 5 that are in the playoffs.
All right. Okay, buddy. That's all the pre-funk stuff. Let's get into the Cat Griz.
All right. Well, let's start off with the stats. So, Bobcats rolling the Missoula for the 121st, 120th.
I think 120th.
I think 120th. Brawl the Wild losing 10-29 to the Montana Grizzlies. Not a pretty game. Let's get into some stats here. 13-13 in the first down, so dead even there. Cats were just 4 for 17 on third down. The Griz were 5 for 14, so both teams pretty atrocious there. Cats were 1 of 3 on fourth down. I'm not sure we've even gone for it 3 times or fourth down all year before this, let alone 3 times in one game. Cats ended up with 204 total yards on offense, which is the lowest of the season by a pretty wide margin, I would imagine. The Griz held to only 288 yards themselves. Cats only threw for 108 yards through the air. The Griz managed 237 on 14 and 24 passing, while the Cats were just 12 of 25 for just 4.3 yards per pass. The Griz did throw 2 interceptions, and at least the Bobcats did not turn the ball over interception-wise, but that didn't prove to even matter. Cats rushed the ball for 96 yards, so just shy of 100, which apparently was the bar set for winning the game, as the Griz, every single game they've won, they've held their opponent to less than 100 yards, and there we are, 96. But we did hold the Griz to 51 yards themselves for just 1.4 yards per carry, but the Cats were a lot better at 2.3 yards per carry. Cats were penalized 5 times for 30 yards, just 2 for the Griz for 20 yards. The Cats lost a fumble while the Griz threw 2 interceptions, which should have been a 3rd interception, but Trey Webb was whistled for offsides. Time of possession won by the Bobcats 31 minutes and 19 seconds to 28 minutes and 41 seconds for the Griz. Matt McKay finished the game 12 of 25 for 108 yards and a touchdown, like we said. Isaiah Afonso was held to just 50 yards on 19 carries. And Nate Stewart leads all receivers for the Bobcats with just 2 receptions for 30 yards and a touchdown.
Bryce Layton punted 9 times for 393 yards. 9 times.
Season high by punting by a wide margin, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh, the Griz punter, I can't remember his name. He's that freshman. He's been really good. Bruschini, MIB, punted 3 times.
Something like that.
They punted 3. We punted 9. Not good. Not good, man. 29-10. There's the score. You never mentioned the score.
Yeah, I did. I
think
certainly
you did.
did. You're going to listen back to this and you're going to be like, yeah, I did.
Okay.
Let's finish off the stats, though. Cam Humphrey threw for 220 yards on 13 to 22 passing. 1 touchdown right off the bat, second play of the game, and 2 interceptions to follow. Xavier Harris led all rushers for the Griz for 17 carries for 41 yards. And Junior Bergen, 3 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown. Basically 74 of that on the second play of the game, and not much else after that. But really, the Bobcats defense locked down after that, but by that point, it was kind of, they only held in the field goals, but we couldn't do anything on offense to even take advantage of that. So
by that point, the second play of the game.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm changing my tune there.
Come on, man.
They held them down after that, but they allowed field goals, and the Cats just could never take advantage of the Bobcats' good defense for the rest of the game.
All right.
The lead just slowly 3 points at a time increased.
Their kicker hit 5 field goals against
5
us.
field goals. Macias looks good to me. Well, kudos to him. That was a great performance.
The long of 50. Yeah. They were all just dead center, too.
None of them were even close to missing. They were like,
No.
well, that's in. Like right off the bat. You could just
It's perfect.
It's one of those days, man, where like almost everything goes right for one team and everything goes bad for another team. It just happens from time to time, and this is one of those games.
It's interesting to me, like, just kind of think about this game from so many angles. I mean, there's so many ways we could talk about this. I think really when it comes down to it, I think just the Grizz just wanted it more. I mean, that's such an easy thing to say, but they definitely played like the more desperate team, and that boded well for them. I no doubt Jace Lewis said to his players, "Guys, I've never beat the Cats. That's stopping today." And they just made it happen. They certainly seemed like the team that had the urgency. And you and I talked about this on, I think, Saturday, or maybe just within text messages. The urgency, the physicality, that's such a huge, huge factor in this game.
They were the aggressors. And we've seen throughout time and time again that usually the aggressors come out and win. That's not always the case. I wouldn't say the Cats were really the aggressors in 2018 necessarily. Well, in 2019, absolutely. And I think this was sort of revenge for the 2019 game in a lot of ways. This was 4 years, 5 years, including the COVID year, of pent-up frustration from Griz fans, from Griz players, from Griz coaches. You saw it on social media, the pent-up frustration just coming out. Griz fans all over the place. Congratulations. They deserve to talk all they want to talk, but you could see it on the field too. Like the players were they were just venting their frustrations, and it went their way, and they continued to be able to vent that all game long and to dominate the Cats physically on, at least on the defensive side. I wouldn't say the defense got physically dominated, but the offense for sure.
Like when you look at the stats, they don't overwhelmingly speak of a dominated game. Like all that stuff you said, tied third or first downs, everything in that list. It's not completely one-sided or the other.
No, but I haven't done the homework on this, but how much of our 82 yards was on our last drive of the game?
That's a good point.
204 yards and 82 of it came in the last drive when it was 29-3, and we scored with 48 seconds left when they were the Griz. I don't even know if they had their starters in at that point. I couldn't even tell you. But the score isn't even as close as the domination was, and the score is not very good.
Yeah.
Like without that last second touchdown, it was 29-3. And the Cats have like 150 yards of offense.
It's no 48-14.
No, but I would argue it's almost as dominant. Although the 48-14 game was over at halftime. This game was not over at halftime, but for all intents and purposes it was. But it was only 16-3 at halftime.
I thought I was going to be more mad watching this game. I wasn't. Like about halfway through the game, I was just, you know what I did, Ryan? I turned the volume all the way down because I was tired of listening to the crowd. I didn't want to give them that satisfaction. My son was sitting next to me. He's like, "Dad, just turn it up." I was like, "I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to hear the momentum because the whole game was just momentum based. And once it got away from us, there was no way we were coming back from it." That's one thing I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about. What was some of the moments Montana State could have captured the momentum?
Well, quite easily. Right off the bat, we had a nice little drive that went down. It was first and goal. Were we inside? Yeah, we were inside the 10, obviously, first and goal.
Yeah. I feel like we got to the 5.
Yeah, I think we got to we had one play that got down to the 5, and then we went backwards 2 plays and got sacked or something. I don't know how it ended, but we went backwards on the whole thing. It's like, you can't do that. Like, it would have been 7-7, and we're looking at a whole different kind of game after that. And instead, we come out with 3 points, and I'm glad we did. There's been several times in the last few weeks when we've done that and come out with 0 points, so 3 is better than 0. So, I mean, right off the bat, there's one to respond. Okay, guys, all right, we're here. We're in this. Let's go. But 7's a lot different than 3. That stemmed the Griz momentum, I would say, but it didn't tilt it in any direction back to us.
Yeah, definitely quieted the crowd. I said, the crowd just got out of it. That gave me a lot of hope. And we were starting to see a couple things that we hadn't seen from the offense yet, like a swing pass to Elijah Elliott. Elliott had 100 yards a game doing just that pass, and we went completely away from that. It's like mind-boggling, right?
Yeah, it's like we were testing the outside or trying to soften up the outside so we could go up the middle. But the problem is the Griz just didn't care. They just kept clogging the middle. That's all they did. They just blitzed the middle. And by the time we went back to it, it was way too late. Yeah. And okay, so that's the first momentum play. Is there any other that stick out to your mind where we could have gotten off the mat, so to speak?
Yeah, 2 plays. One when we had the interception from Troy Anderson and we were inside their 30, and then come away with a blocked or a fake field goal, and they scored instead of us. I was like, that was killer, just absolute killer. Jeff Manning catching the INT and then just like falling down. I don't know why. Like, no one was around him. He just kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of like slowed down, had to change his momentum a little bit, but
you kind of like slid catch it,
yeah,
like a
feet, man.
Outfielder sliding in to catch a fly ball. It's like,
I know. And then the other one, Simeon Woodard picked off Cam Humphrey there, and then they called Trey Webb for being offsides, which was really ticky-tack. Like, come on. Like, he was... Okay, so the play, he jumped, and then he jumped back. It was on the offsides of the play, or far side of the play. It was inconsequential to the play at any moment. It was just...
Yeah, but they called it right away, though. So, I mean, it's not inconsequential when you throw the flag.
Yeah. Anyways, just a failed opportunity to gain some momentum.
Yeah. It's just more like the bad luck is what that is. Like the one time we jump off sides the entire game, we get an interception, which is a great play. Like it was a badly thrown ball, but he was like right there and the ball came to him and he came down with it. Like great play. Didn't matter.
Or the time he sacked Cam Humphrey on 4th down, Troy Anderson just went up the middle untouched and just took him down. And then we went 3 and out after that. Another missed opportunity.
The defense put us in many positions to win this game, or at least keep it within striking distance, like 7-7. And then, like you said, if the Troy Anderson interception, if we come out with at least 3 points on that, like so that was 19-3 at that point, it would have been 19-6. You know, like you're holding on by a thread at that point. But once it was 27-3 after that fumble recovery, and that place was crazy at that point. Like, well, it's over. That's game right there.
Game, set, match. Griz.
Yep.
Kind of had a feeling, honestly, Ryan, I kind of had a feeling all week that we were going to get beat. I know, like, when you talk to the Griz guys and we talked to the other guys, but like later on the week it went, I just kind of had a feeling. I was like, yeah, I think we're just due. I mean, it just kind of had a feeling that it was just meant more to the Griz today.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's really what it boils down to. They just look like they wanted it more. And like I said, that's just 5 years of being tired of losing the Cats. And they finally put enough importance on the game because, you know, Bobby Howe famously said after the last game, like, well, it's clearly that they put more importance on this game than we do, or whatever he said, you know, some BS Bobby Howe whiner line that he always does. Looks like they finally prioritized it. So congratulations on that. So, yeah, they wanted it more. They came out with their hair on fire, and, you know, we just couldn't capitalize on the few opportunities that were given to us or that we created for ourselves. And that's really what it comes down to. And one disappointing thing for me is how badly we lost the special teams battle. Like, the Cats have not been stellar on special teams, but we've been good. But we haven't made any plays, but we haven't made any dumb plays. It's I guess that kind of just sums up a lot of this year under Brent Vegan is we don't do anything spectacular, but we don't do anything unspectacular either. It's like we haven't scored yet, but we also haven't. I don't think we'd even given up a score on special teams. I could be wrong on that. So it goes both ways. But aside from that blocked fake field goal, like we were giving up lots of punt returns for big yardage. Like whiffing on tackles, like something you just haven't seen the Bobcats do, like just missing open field tackles. We had, I think it was Junior Bergen dead to rights several times, and we couldn't get him down. Like that's just something we haven't seen this year. And if we would pin them back in the 30 on some of these plays, you know, their offense wasn't doing anything at that point. But if they return the ball to our side of the 50 and they get a first down, you know, they can punt the ball down to our 10 or whatever, or possibly get a field goal. Like if they're pinned on their own 30, that's a whole different scenario. So I'm not even talking about, like I said, like the blocked extra point. That is atrocious. And they scored a touchdown. The game, like we said, like if they score a touchdown, I think we lose this game. I wouldn't have mattered. They didn't even need that touchdown. But I just didn't think we'd be able to just give up so many like 20, 30-yard punt returns like we did either. That was just, you know, it was killer.
The whole sequence was just a microcosm of the game, right?
Yeah.
And Troy Anderson gets the pick inside the 30, and then they get the touchdown on a blocked special teams play. I feel bad for Bryce Layton. Bryce Layton just like literally looked like he handed the ball off to Jace Lewis right there.
Yeah.
He just kind of waited for him, and then he's like, "Oh man, you're on top of me already. Crap." You're like,
It's one of the worst looking fake field goals I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, maybe we should have tried one of those earlier on in the year. Maybe we should have tried something different, maybe outside the vanilla string that you always talk about with Coach Vegan, right?
That's true. You can practice that all you want, but man, do that at some point during like the Drake game. Just do it in a live situation or something. I don't know.
Yeah, good point.
Didn't work out for the first time ever all year on that situation. I don't know how we let a guy just straight through the middle on that, but there we are.
Go ahead. Let's talk about field position a little bit. We played on half the field most of the time. The Grizzlies going into a short field. However, props to our defense. Like we did it awesome. I mean, we forced 5 field goals. For as bad field position as we gave up, we forced 5 field goals. Like silver lining, I don't know, but I thought our defense played really well.
Yeah, considering how badly our offense played and how well, like you said, the field position, how well the Grizz were set up all game long. I mean, 5 field goals that's a lot of field goals, but kickers aren't normally going to hit 5 field goals. But you held them to 5 field goal attempts, and they made them all. Kudos to them. And then the one blown coverage right off the bat. And outside of that, the defense played well enough to win. Like that's 22 points given up by the defense. If we weren't going to score 20 points, then it's our own fault for losing on that one for sure.
And the refs really, I was going to say, the refs really let a lot go in this game.
They
a lot
did.
Of rough. We hit Cam Humphrey quite a bit. Like I saw Amandre Williams put him on his backside more than once, and it was pretty clear that Cam Humphrey hurt something like his wrist or his hand. I want to give that guy some props because he stood in the pocket and delivered some balls.
Yeah,
there's a couple times when we had him in third and forever, and they would pick up all but 5 of it. They would hit like a long pass or something, which was just silly in itself. You're just like, come on, seriously, we have a 3rd and 19 and they pick up 17 of it. Come on. But, props to that guy because he was getting knocked on his butt all game long and he just stood in there, and I just thought, I had a lot of respect for him.
No, he's got good pocket presence. I was tired of seeing him, the pocket collapse. He'd run up to the line of scrimmage and then he'd roll to his right. And he did that so many times. Like, it must be nice to have a quarterback who can make that kind of play. Cam Humphrey's not a great quarterback, but he's not bad. He's a good playmaker. He's got good pocket presence anyway. He throws a few bad balls and makes some boneheaded decisions, but overall, I think he's a pretty solid quarterback. And I do want to give big props to the Grizz defense. We were completely unprepared for it. Our offensive line was completely unprepared for it. We did nothing to really stop the blitz that a normal team might want to do in a situation to stop the blitz. But, the Grizz defense, for the first time in a couple years, something that the Grizz were hyped for, I think actually lived up to the expectations on that. Their defense was legit. They were fast. They were playing crazy. And like I said, we did nothing to slow them down. So they just kept pinning their ears back and just sitting the house every single time because we couldn't do anything about it. So kudos to the Grizz. That's a hell of a defense. And, they put it to us.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say on their defense.
Well, do we want to switch over to the elephant in the room here? The thing that's blowing up Bobcat Nation, the offense? Figure out what's going on there?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Where do you even want to start on this? Like, let's start about the offensive game plan. What did you think about the game plan going into this game? Right? You're sitting there like rubbing your eyebrows there. It's like,
oh my gosh,
pretty much.
Early on, when we had that drive that took us down to the 5, I was like, good. We have some coverage busters. Like they were gonna blitz us. We put Elijah Elliott out in the flat. We got him the ball. We're like, come on, this is good. Like, yes, this is the things you and I have been talking about all season long. Just throw a swing pass, please. Just do it to Elijah Elliott. And look what happened. I think Matt McKay had like a long run on that. We started softening the edges, and then we went completely away from it. I have no clue why. I just get fired up when I start to think about it. So what I saw, Ryan, we ran right into the Grizzly blitz all the time. Matt McKay was just firing the ball to nobody. I mean, he knew where he was throwing it, but he was throwing it early and he was just throwing fast. He wasn't putting any touch on it. He was scared. He wasn't scrambling. He just didn't look like a quarterback that really wanted to be out there at all after a while.
To be fair, I'd say about half of his dropbacks, there was a guy blitzing untouched.
Yeah.
Like he had no, like what else are you going to do? Kudos to him for actually not taking more sacks. He got rid of the ball and they were nowhere catchable, but they weren't intercepted and he didn't take a sack. So in some ways, kudos.
Why are we even running that play then? Why aren't we just doing a fast pass somewhere? Like
why aren't
a little drop it?
Why aren't we bringing back like Afonso to pick up the blitz? Why isn't where's RJ Fitzgerald that entire game? It's like, what were we doing about that blitz? We did nothing. We just kept dropping back and running like go routes to the end zone. I don't understand, man.
Nothing over the middle. Absolutely nothing over the middle.
But that's all.
Except one play that I can remember that to Lance McCutcheon hit him in the hands, but I think it was Justin Ford was just draped all over him. It was a questionable pass interference play on a third down. How many 3rd and 6s did we have all game? Probably like at least 14 of them. It felt
like it. That was just 3rd and 6 every time.
What would it take to run Willie Patterson just 2 steps forward and just drag across the middle for 3 yards, 5 yards?
It's funny.
Right
you and I were
the blitz.
You and I were both watching the Pittsburgh Steelers game on, what was that, Sunday Night Football?
Yes.
And
the Steelers.
Like, Ben Roethlisberger, like they blitzed the crap out of him, and he just dropped back. And what did they send their just tight end on just a little out route?
Yeah,
like a 3 yards into the left, like, and he just backpedaled and threw it right to him, and he broke a tackle and scored a touchdown. This is like on the 10-yard line, but yeah, it's like my goodness, like do that. Like I was watching Cal Poly plays the Griz earlier in the year, and Cal Poly had a better game plan and better execution against the Griz defense than we did. They were throwing like little screen passes like all day long for like 6 yards. I would have loved that. That's a huge improvement.
So did Southern Utah. So did Dixie State. All had better game.
Yeah. Did you go back and look at the offensive stats? Did we really do the worst against the Griz out of all those teams?
I did not compare, but I did watch those games. I watched part of those games, and you're like, of course. I thought Montana State would have taken a page out of Sac State's. I was like, go watch Sac State's film. I'm sure they did. You assume they did, right? I'm not sure they did, but you assume they did. It's unbelievable, our play calling.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Cal Poly had 362 yards of offense against the Griz.
You know, we pile on Matt McKay. We pile on Matt McKay here. But how much is it just giving Matt McKay some easy options?
So this is where it's hard as a fan like me, who never played football, who's never studied like actual like playbooks. And we've talked about this on TV. They don't show you the routes. I can't see what's going on. I never know how much of it is play calling, how much of it is Matt McKay, how much of it's execution, how much of it's the offensive line not doing their jobs. These are things that I don't pretend to know as a fan. I feel like the game plan wasn't very good coming into it. And I just feel like if you had a quarterback that can only do certain things, you can still work with that. And I feel like we're not doing anything to do him any favors. And if he's truly like incapable of doing so many different kinds of things, do you make a change at quarterback at this point? Or if he's our best option, then figure out how to win games with him. It sounds like we're talking about a team that's like 4-7 or something. Like, well, this is our second loss of the entire year. We got to keep things in perspective. But now we're in the playoffs, and now we're talking about what can we do to win the playoffs. And we can't play like that. Obviously, we can't even play like we did against Idaho or probably even Idaho State and win the playoffs. If Matt McKay has his limitations and you know what he can do, then how you got to mold a game plan around that. You got to figure something out.
We talked before this, and I did a little bit of research. Matt McKay has 2,021 yards, 153 completions out of 246 attempts with 17 touchdowns. Just for fun, I went back and looked at Tucker Rovig's stats from 2019. Tucker Rovig ended up with 1,969 yards, 172 completions out of 279 attempts with 15 touchdowns.
What were the games played?
Rovig in 2019.
How many games did each one play?
Yeah, so there it is. So Rovig had, in this case, probably two more at this point.
Well, Rovig didn't start until like game 4. Remember, Casey Bauman started 2018.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I hadn't thought about that. Anyways, we're talking about this.
They're roughly the same.
Yeah, the same quarterback. My question to you, Ryan, then is, who would you rather have, Matt McKay or Tucker Rovig, leading the squad right now?
I honestly, as much as I'm like not happy with the game plan and stuff like that, I'm still trusting the coaches to know who can make the plays in practice. It seems like Rovig is the easy choice here in some ways because it's so frustrating to watch the passing game. But, for what we do at RPO stuff, like Tucker Rovig's not that guy. The RPO stuff's not working, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Tucker Rovig's going to come in and execute that RPO any better than Matt McKay is.
Yeah.
But he might be able to hit some guys over the middle. But, Rovig wasn't known for his going through his read progressions either. That was always his knock. I don't know, man. Don't know what to tell you. This is where I'm stuck as a fan, like not loving what's happening, but also not knowing what to do about it, at least in terms of like personnel. I think our offensive line is taking a relatively big step backwards now. I think we can all probably admit that at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think they're bad.
TJ Sessions going out with
especially with TJ Sessions injured as well. But just going from like Mitch Broughton, Connor Wood, and then Tua Sissopo, Zach Wright at center, and then, Lewis Kidd. Now guys aren't in probably their best position. We don't have Broad or Connor Wood, and now we even lost TJ Sessions to injury, a guy who'd been playing, is learning. He's a freshman. He's learning. He was getting better, and he's out. Now we got another true freshman in there, so it's just not ideal. And that hasn't helped.
Yeah, it's a storyline. Rush Reimer got his first start in the Cat Griz, and he's going to go against a guy like Jace Lewis or any one of their big seniors on the defensive line during that game. That's a little subplot for you right there. Rush Reimer is a guy I'm really high on, but that's not a good first start for sure.
I'm high on a lot of our young offensive line, but they're not supposed to be playing.
No,
not yet.
All right. Hey, Ryan.
Is there anything else you want to talk about the game?
No, I really don't. This was, looking back, I saw it coming. I really did.
I didn't see this big of a whooping coming. I could have seen a loss coming, but being able to muster up like less yards than Cal Poly and scoring a touchdown in garbage time to only score more points than Cal Poly and like looking worse than Southern Utah in Missoula. I'm not sure I saw that coming.
Yeah, but that whole thing is a momentum vortex for them. That's the whole thing about the Grizzlies. That's their whole sauce right there. Their secret sauce is momentum. When they have momentum, like they did on defense, and they knew Matt McKay couldn't pass it, it was game over. It really was game over at that point.
No, this was
they
like
were
when
daring Matt McKay to beat them over there, and he couldn't do it. And they're just like, we got this guy. It's going down. And Fonse had 50 yards. 50 yards. Fonse was hurt, by the way. He's not the freshest one.
No, they did that option out to him, and he had a one-on-one with a Griz defender, and he got taken down and clipped at the legs. That's not a Fonse.
Yeah. No,
he's hurt.
Yeah, and we kept running him up the middle. First down, RPO. There you go.
Well, I mean, he was honestly the best bet we had was just to have him plow into dudes and hopefully drag him for 4 yards. That was our game plan for winning.
No, that's not our best bet. That's Taylor Housewright just being stupid. Honestly,
it felt like it felt to me like we were in the Weaver State game in the third quarter when we just did the exact same play over and over to protect the lead, except we didn't have a lead. But that's what it felt like. It was like the same playbook.
We need to move on. It's 45 minutes into.
Do you want to
thing, we
talk
gotta
about
go.
the Rob Ash comparisons, or do you want to not just gloss over that?
Nah,
I don't think
I don't think
I'm
Coach
just-
Vegan is Rob Ash. I don't think Coach Vegan is Rosh. Well,
I think it's way too early to say anything like that. Although I'm going to admit, the way we lost felt like the way Rob Ash would lose a game. And I had those same thoughts, but once the game's over and once you kind of start thinking about it, it's like, all right, we're 9-2. And there's so much football left to be played, and there's so much football left for Brent Vigen to be played. I want to throw out some stats here that I researched and I posted on the board, but let's talk about this. First time head coaches since 2000 in the Cat Griz game are 2-7 in this game. Do you want to know who won?
Choate.
Yeah, Jeff Choate. Do you know who won? The other one is?
First time in the Cat Griz?
Yes.
It was not Mike Kramer.
Nope.
Was it Rob Ash?
No. It's Bob Stitt.
No. Bob Stitt.
Bob Stitt. Bob Stitt and Jeff Choate are only two coaches this century to win their first bout in the Cat Griz game, including Bobby Houck having the distinction of losing his first stint 2 different times. So, in fact, Bob Houck was only one of 3 his first 2. Each time he lost one of the first 3 games, or he won one of the first 3 games. Excuse me. So he was 0-2 against Kramer, and he was 0-2 against Choate. In fact, Houck is only, I think, I don't have the stats. I wish I had down. I think he's 6-4 against the Cats.
That sounds about right.
So the point is, like, it was on the road. It's his first time being a head coach ever. His first time in this game. Most coaches don't win this game their first go around. Bob Stitt did it at home. Jeff Choate did it on the road. Like, that's crazy. That 2016 Bobcat team was not good. Somehow they went to Missoula and they were the aggressors. That's all they did. They just went in there and just beat the piss out of the Griz and won the game. Not because they were a better team, not because they had more talent, just because they went in there and just dominated physically. And that's what happened today. And you learn from it. Like, I'm going to give the Vegan the benefit of the doubt here. It's his first time. He knows now what it takes to win the game. We'll see what happens next year. So it's way too early to say anything about that, in my opinion.
I did watch the presser. He did mention that a couple times. He was like, we have to learn from this. I walked off the field. I'm quoting Jeff Choate. I'm quoting Brent Vigen right now. And he said, I thought we got out-aggressed. They punished us, essentially. He knows. He knows now. But I don't know if he knew going into it.
Well, it's one of those things you just
how could you know, right?
Is to do it. You can call Travis Lulay. You can call,
but
Alex
he's not
Singleton.
a Montanan. You and I are Montanans. I mean, if you grew up in Montana, if you've been a part of it, you know, you feel.
Fair enough.
You just don't know until you know. You don't know until you know.
No, I'm going to argue that North Dakota State has nothing like this.
No, they don't.
South Dakota State's a big rival, but it's not this.
No, it's not. All right, buddy, let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the happy stuff here. So the playoff bracket, the Bobcats, despite what you might actually read on Bobcat Nation, you think that we're some sort of like 3-win team, but we are 9-2, and we did gain the 8th seed in the playoffs.
You know it.
Let's talk about the bracket, man. That's my first question to you. I guess my first question here, I actually wrote it down. Did we deserve to fall from a potential 1, 2, or 3 seed all the way down to an 8 after one loss? Do you feel like we should have dropped that far?
I know. That was a shock to me. We would have got the 2 seed, and then we dropped all the way down to the 8 seed. But I think it was a good thing. We'll talk about that.
I do think it actually ended up working out in our favor. I was actually nervous that we were going to get out of the seeding. Just because it's like everyone in the media has been waiting for this to happen. We've been moving up in the rankings all year because, like I said, by default, everyone else keeps losing. We don't. I guess we'll move the Bobcats up to number 4. Oh, they lost. I knew they sucked. Boom. Kick them down.
No, we beat Weber on the road. We beat Eastern on the road. Are you kidding me? We deserve that.
I'm saying just the media. I'm not saying you and me. All right. Anyway, so we are the 8th seed.
Let's take a look at that bracket. Let's pull it up.
Let's look at our quadrant. I don't know what else to call these. I'm calling them quadrants. So we're on Sam Houston's side of the bracket. So first of all, The 4 seeds on our side of the bracket are Sam Houston, Montana State, Villanova's the 5, and Sac State's the 4. If you didn't know, Sam Houston's the 1. I didn't say that because I assume everyone knows, but they are the first seed, number 1 seed. So on the other side of the bracket, you got number 3 James Madison, number 6 Montana, number 7 Eastern Tennessee State University, and North Dakota State, number 2. If I just tell you the seeds, which side of the bracket do you want to be on?
Oh, Sam Houston side for
Sam
sure.
Houston side, easy. That's a no-brainer right there. I don't want anything to do with James Madison or North Dakota State.
No.
So those are
absolutely not, man.
That's obvious right there. So I don't know if have you had a chance to look at this bracket. I want to ask you some bracket questions, but if you haven't had a chance to look at it much at all or even think about it, then
all right.
I might not.
Don't ask me anything hard. I have looked at it.
No, I'm not asking anything hard. I'm just saying who do you think got the best draw out of anybody? Out of
anybody?
Teams. Out of the seeded team, excuse me. Out of the seeded teams, who got the best draw? Who's got the easiest path to Frisco?
Well, maybe North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Because they have to play the winner of Southern Illinois or South Dakota, and then they play the winner of, or they'll play Eastern Tennessee State or the winner of Davidson or Kennesaw State. I think that's pretty favorable to them. But then, I guess to counter my point, to counter my own point, they will have to play either James Madison or the Grizzlies, or maybe Eastern Washington, University of Northern Iowa. I don't imagine Florida A&M or Southeastern Louisiana will make it past James Madison. I just don't think that's going to happen. Eastern is a tough matchup to Montana, although Eastern will have to travel to Missoula, so who knows what's going to happen there.
Except for a revenge game for the Griz. If Eastern can get past Northern Iowa, which I'm not sure that they can.
Yeah, exactly. I almost think Northern Iowa would be a better matchup against the Grizzlies, just because I think there'll be blood in the water for Montana State against Eastern, and so they'll get up for that again. I think Montana has a precarious position too, because they just played the lights out game of the year for them. They're going to have to maintain that kind of that kind of intensity that they rode in the Bobcat game. If that goes away, I don't know if they can score. Their offense is not that great. When we go back and look at the stats, their offense isn't great. I mean, they scored 5 field goals on it. Take away 15 points, they score on a defensive touchdown and broken defensive play on the second play of the game. All right, okay, the Griz really kicked our butts, but I don't know, man. A little bit of fool's gold there for me. So
that's kind of what they've been doing all year, though. Somehow,
yeah. So
now they only score 7 points on offense. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
To answer your question, I think North Dakota State probably has the easiest path until they are going to meet James Madison. I do like Montana State's path too. So we play the winner of UT Martin or Missouri State. We'll talk about those guys a little bit. And then after that, if we win again, I'm assuming we're going to have to play Sam Houston State, which is an old matchup for us, right? I mean, that would exercise some old demons right there for us if we could get a win against them. Although they will have to take on the winner of Stephen F. Austin or Incarnate Word. I was in trouble right here. But I don't know. I haven't been impressed with Sam Houston State. They only played 10 games. I don't really know a ton about them, but I just don't know about how tough they are. We would have to go down to, where's Sam Houston State at? Where are they at, Thorny?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
So assuming, let's say we get past Sam Houston State in the semifinals, we would have to play either the winner of probably Villanova and Sac State is what I'm thinking. Or, Sac State's going to have a tough matchup on their hands. South Dakota State, an unseeded team, probably one of the better teams that did not get a seed, plays Davis in the first round. This Saturday, I'm betting South Dakota State takes care of Davis, and then South Dakota State's going to go to Sac State. That's going to be a really good game. I think South Dakota State is going to win at Sac State. That's what I would predict. And then they would end up playing Villanova. My guess would be there could be a potential matchup if somehow we could beat the number 1 seed in Sam Houston State, Montana State, South Dakota State. The Brawl of the Leon Costellos for the semifinals.
Well, so I asked you who the best draw was, and you pretty much talked about the whole bracket and everything. So, man,
sorry, I just
quite
realized
the answer
I went
you got
for
there.
it. I went for it.
Yeah. So Sacramento State did lose what I think people are calling like the South Dakota State lottery. You knew they're going to be unseeded. You don't want to play them because they're good.
Yeah.
In fact, it's kind of crazy that only one Missouri Valley Football Conference team got seeded. That's crazy. But then you look at like South Dakota, Southern Illinois, and South Dakota State and Missouri State are all, and then Northern Iowa are all in the field unseeded. That's crazy. So like only 4 of the 5 Big Sky teams are seeded, and somehow, and just Davis is not. So I actually think Villanova's got to be pretty happy right now. They play the winner of Sacred Heart and Holy Cross. Like, okay. And then if South Dakota State takes care of Sac State, then they get a home game. Otherwise, they go to Sac State, which is probably, maybe outside of the Bobcats, maybe the most winnable seed you can think of if you're just thinking from like another team's perspective. So I think, and then worst case scenario, they go to Sam Houston State. So I think they got the probably about the best draw you could ask for.
Thorny, what do you think about? So, no, I just want to know your thoughts on Sac State.
Well, it's hard to say, man. Like I think they're a good team. Like they're at times this year I voted them one of the power rankings, and then they like squeak by somebody else. So I don't really know what to tell you. I think Sac State's a good team. I don't think they can get past some of the more elite teams, but I could be wrong. Like that Troy Taylor is arguably, like quietly, the best coach in the Big Sky Conference.
Has he lost in the Big Sky Conference?
Yeah, I think he lost 1 game, maybe.
That's pretty stinking good, man.
He's just ripping through it, man.
Stinking good.
He's just ripping through it. Kevin Thompson or not, he's figuring it out.
Your boy.
So who do you think got the worst draw of the seeded teams?
Ooh, that's easily Montana.
Montana
I think
got
so.
hosed.
Yeah, they got jobbed for sure.
They're
going to play
either
Eastern Washington or
UNI, which UNI can always beat teams. They aren't consistent, but they're always really good, especially in like a playoff caliber defense usually. Or Eastern Washington, blah. And then they're rewarded for that hard win by probably going to Bridgeforth for James Madison, which their season probably ends there. Could be wrong, but that's going to be a real hard game. And if they squeak past that, they got to go to Fargo.
they got to score points, man. They're not going to be able to score points. I mean, they're not going to be playing the Southern Utahs and the Dixie States of the world in the playoffs. I'll tell you what.
Nope. So and then I think Sac State probably got a hard draw too, just because they got South Dakota State.
Yeah, South Dakota State's really good.
So they probably got the hardest first round game of any of the teams. I think the Cats might be up there too. I think the Cats got a hard one with likely I assume Missouri State will win that game. We will talk about that soon. In fact, we don't need to talk about that too much. We're going to do a whole preview episode next week, so we're going to kind of just keep moving here. So which non-seed got the best draw? So of all the non-seeded teams, who do you think it's got the best chance of making the distance?
No, South Dakota State for sure.
I think so too. South Dakota State's got to be feeling good about that. I mean, I think they'll beat UC Davis. I think UC Davis is just not good. They're playing terrible. They lost very badly in the Causeway Classic. I think another team you could point to, Kennesaw State, a team that thought they should have been seeded. They get Davidson at home, and then they go to ETSU, who it's like, what? Who's that? Like they're not a traditional power. They could be very good, but they play a weak schedule and a weak conference. Sure, they'll end up at Fargo, but triple option teams, man, you never know.
Gosh, I hate triple option teams.
Yeah, I'm glad we're on their side of the bracket too.
It's one of the first times I thought we kind of lucked out in the playoffs in the last couple of years because we were always pitted against North Dakota State. You're just like, okay, all right. Why though? Was it just like a regional matchup? The regionalization of this whole, it's just crazy. So I would like to see Montana State take down Sam Houston State. Like that's something I'm really hoping for. That would be something that is just kind of like a revenge tour
Sure.
of some sorts for us, right?
Yeah, before we move on to I want to talk about our quadrant real quick here, but last thing, I got to finish off my best and worst things here. Of all the non-seeded teams, who do you think got hosed the worst?
Hosed the worst, huh?
My vote is probably South Dakota, man. They just lost to North Dakota State like last week, like on Saturday.
Oh, really?
And if they beat Southern Illinois, they got to go right back to Fargo. That sucks.
Well, it's Southern Illinois in their conference too, right?
Yep.
So there you go. So
that's just playing a Missouri football conference little smattering down there.
Well, the Missouri Valley got 6 teams in. Like, you can't complain when you get a fourth of the teams in the playoff.
That's true. You're going to likely play some other teams in your conference quite often if that's the case.
Yeah.
I think Eastern Washington probably got a host a little bit too, but that's true. Kyler Neal put it well too, and I agree. How did Eastern Washington outbid Northern Iowa for a home playoff game? That's impressive. I don't think I can think of this is what happens when you have both Montana schools come to Cheney and charge them $80 to $100 for a ticket. You got some extra money to throw at the playoff committee. That's all I can think of.
Or did the playoff committee go, well, we could do like a little red turf kind of special right there and just like showcase the FCS a little bit? I don't know.
That's not the first rounds work by bidding though.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So Eastern Washington outbid traditional Northern Iowa playoff stalwart. I don't know if you and I cheaped out or Eastern Washington ponied up.
Northern Illinois is 6-5.
Iowa. But yeah,
that's who I said.
No, 6-5. That's 6-5. Come on.
How do you get into the playoffs at 6-5?
It's a very good question. Because they have like
seriously,
five of their wins are against like the other teams in the playoffs. So all they did was beat playoff teams, and all they did was lose to non-playoff teams. It's super weird.
But there used to be kind of like a watermark
classic
of
Panthers.
7 wins.
Traditionally, there is. There just may have not been a good field for that this year. Weber State's in the playoffs if they don't lose to Portland State because they're 7-4.
I would take Weber State over you and I.
I don't know. Northern Iowa beat North Dakota State, pretty sure. It's hard to dismiss that.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, there's the field. I didn't think we spent so much time talking about that, but how do you think? So let's dive into the Bobcat quadrant real quick here. I like being on Sam Houston's side. They're, I think, the most beatable of the top 3 seeds. Maybe that's complete wishful thinking, but Sam Houston State's conference is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, they beat NAU 42-16, and they beat SEMO, Central Arkansas, Stephen F. Austin, Lamar, Jacksonville State, who turned out to be really bad this year, Tarleton State, Dixie State, Eastern Kentucky, Abilene Christian. It's like, what are these schools? And they played 10 games. They didn't play 11 games. They got 2 bye weeks. There should be a requirement.
I didn't watch any of their
games,
man. Yeah, I just didn't watch any of their games. And I just can't kind of think back to when they played in Bozeman, those 2 years when we would play Sam Houston back to back. It was their defense that really took us to the house.
Yeah, they weren't.
I don't know if that's the truth now. Yeah, I have no clue. I mean, that was what, 10 years ago?
Yeah,
yeah,
2011.
More, so
I think we might have played them in 2012, but yeah, it was 2 years in a row. I can't remember if it was 10 and 11 or 11 and 12, but
I really do like our defense. Like in any of these matchups, I really like our defense. Our offense has the opportunity now to kind of get their crap in order.
Yeah.
Like they have like 14 days to figure this out.
So do you want to get into that, or do you want to finish talking about our side of the bracket, or you just want to straight get into, because I wanted to ask you, like, what do the Bobcats need to do?
Holy smokes. Well, what do you want to talk about on our side of the bracket? So hypotheticals?
I mean, I guess nothing really else. I think we probably have one of the toughest potential first matchups with Missouri State, assuming they win. But if we can get past them and somehow get past Southern or Sam Houston State, I mean, we're looking at, Villanova, Sac State, or South Dakota State. So, I mean, it is not a terrible path to Frisco. And that's all I wanted to say. I actually, it's a blessing in disguise that we lost. Because, I mean, honestly, if the Cats won, you have no idea what the bracket turns out like, but you're likely the number 2 seed. So that's obviously better, no matter what side of the bracket you're on, because you get all home games. But anything beyond like a 3 seed couldn't have turned out any better.
Yeah. It's funny to think about the Cats going to Frisco. That'd be awesome, right?
Yeah, it's pie in the sky right now because we're not playing well enough to get to Frisco, I don't think. I think we can. So that leads me to my last question for this podcast. Give me 3 things that the Cats need to do in order to make a run in the playoffs.
Jeez. 3 things. You're going to spring that on me. Okay.
It was in the document, but yes, I'm sure springing it on you. I even wrote it down to give you time to prepare for it.
I totally did not prepare for this.
Do you want me to go first?
Well, are we going to do 3 collective things, or are we going to do 3 apiece? You got to help me out.
3 apiece.
Oh, man. Why don't you give me your first, and then we'll just play off each other.
All right, so the first one for me is to get healthy. And I actually wrote down physically and mentally healthy. I'm going to lump those together. Physically obvious, that one's obvious, but we need to get mentally right after that game. And we need to get mentally right after the sluggish month we've had. We need to just flush everything out. It's a new season, focus on that, figure out what's going on, dial in and just laser focus. I think, I got to have the mental focus and the mental health and the physical health. That's my number one thing we need to do. Because a healthy Afonso, no matter questionable play calling, whatever, he's still going to do some damage.
It's a good point.
Against most defenses in the field.
Do you reshuffle the offensive line? Do you put Tui in right guard?
I don't know. I don't even know where people played on Saturday, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think that you've got to figure out the best position for each guy for whatever game plan you want to do. Problem, we don't know what our offensive identity is right now.
Yeah.
So how do you shuffle the offensive line to figure out what you want to do? I don't know, because I don't even know who we are.
So I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to say play calling.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, Ryan, when I think back to summertime, early August, when we were listening to interviews with Taylor House, right? I was really jacked about this guy. You're like, oh, man, he's going to put all the players in position to succeed. He's going to dial it up. He's going to change it up. It just seems completely opposite of that. It's very, I think I said it good when I texted you the other day. Our offense is very rudimentary. We're just very almost elementary in our approach.
Yeah. So, I basically have a variation of that. I just wrote down open the offensive playbook up. And so it's basically the same thing. It just feels like it's gone so constricted down to this just core set of plays we run where we had more plays early in the season. You're not going to win in the playoffs. You're not going to go very far if you're not playing to win, if you're not taking chances, if you're not throwing the ball downfield, if you're not opening the playbook up, you're not calling some plays that might end up in a turnover. I don't know. You just got to open the playbook up, and it's basically the same thing. Play calling's got to get better. I just want to see us take some chances because we played it safe all year, and I just don't think that beats the really good teams in the FCS.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go down, we want to go down swinging. We don't want to go down running up the middle twice.
When you're down by 3 scores, just an RPO right up the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
go ahead.
My final key is to just straight play loose. Everything, we just are like the little...
Good point, man.
Just the little monkeys banging on the cymbals. We're just like, everything is so tight right now. The coaches are coaching tight. The players are playing tight. At least, I mean, offense. I'm going to mostly say offense. I think the defense has played fast and furious all year. They've had a few hiccups here and there, but overall, still a top 10 defense, I think, in the country. We need to just figure out, we just need to play happy. Like we were talking about how we, on the R&R After Dark, how Weber State won the game like 45-7 or whatever. They're playing because they have no more expectations on their shoulders. We need to just play loose and happy and just have fun playing football. And I just don't, it doesn't look like the offense is having any fun out there. And I want to see them do that.
I think that's such a good point. I hadn't thought about that, but you're exactly right. Like, you're 100% right on that. That could be like the number one thing the Cats need to do. They just need to go out and have some fun, play loose, just let it ride. We need to see the teams we saw back first half of the season just having fun, just like kicking ass, taking names,
getting penalties for doing backflips after a touchdown.
Exactly. That needs to come back. Willie P, go do some backflips. Just do something fun. I guarantee that's going to inject some energy into this team. It's all, you're so right, man. It's just like all of a sudden I just feel what you just said. You are exactly right. Just go have some fun, play loose, play Bobcat, play fast, play physical, kick some ass, take some names, score some points. Let's go.
That's right. Well, the good news is we got not 1, but we got 2 weeks to figure that out. So I'm hoping that there's some angry but like dial energy right now, and I'm hoping it, at the same time, I was like, hey, we gotta just play fun, guys. I don't know. It's hard to describe what I'm saying. I'm sure it's even harder to try and coach what I'm saying, but that's gotta happen.
I feel you, man.
That's all I know.
I feel it for sure.
All right, well, let's do some Golden Coolie questions. We don't have we'll try and answer them quickly. We're running long here, so I apologize if we just kind of gloss over some stuff here, or if we skip you all together. Coach Owert, I don't know how to say that guy's name. Do you have any idea? David Hasselhoff picture.
Owert.
Combined, how many beers did you drink Saturday? Number 1. Number 2, looking at the first round game, which game winners do you think would provide the biggest challenge to the seeded teams in the second round? We already covered that. And what's your prediction for the national championship game or winner before any games have been played? I don't feel like making a bracket prediction right now. I don't know about you, Foley.
Nope.
But I will tell you how many beers I drank on Saturday. I said on the R&R After Dark that I think I'm 5 in. It actually turned out I was on my 4th beer drinking it, recording that on Saturday, and I made a healthy life decision to stop drinking, start drinking water, and I actually ended up going like on a 30-minute bike ride later in the night. So I turned my life around. I could have gone down a dark, deep hole of alcohol and depression, but I instead it was H2O and physical exercise. So 4. I capped off at 4, actually, all during the game.
So I have a little superstition. I don't drink during the games this year.
Yeah.
And I think we had some people over later on that night, and we were waxing some skis. And so I think I had like 2 or 3 beers in the garage while we were waxing the skis.
So 6. We're talking 6 combined beers. And 2 of them at a ski waxing party, which
come on now
is a thing, apparently.
Yeah. For the Foleys, it is.
All right. I love the Cats. What are your feelings after the debacle Saturday, and how much does it impact your feelings for the playoffs? We seem to get a great draw. Okay, that's pretty much a question that we already kind of discussed. Thanks for the question, but we're going to keep this going here. Colorado Cats, which team in the bottom half of the seeds has the best chance to make it to Frisco? I think we both probably agreed that South Dakota State.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. Is next season's starting quarterback currently on the roster? Hawks86 asks us.
I think so. Sean Austin.
Yeah. I think it's either possibly, it could be McKay again. Let's be real here, but it could be Tommy Millott if he gets an off season of throwing in, and Sean Austin was the guy I was thinking of too. I think he's going to be a big time player for us. So I actually do, or Casey Bauman. Let's not completely discount him. He's still on the roster. He's still a junior. He's a sophomore. He's a sophomore eligibility wise.
If I had to put money on it right now, I'd probably put money on Matt McKay.
Yeah. Well, I would probably put money on he's on the roster for sure, whoever it may be.
All right.
Anyone on the hot seat for assistant coaches? I don't know if I want to touch that question.
We'll let you.
I'm hoping that House Right is getting a lot of heat right now from Brent Fegan. That's all I know. I'm not saying fire him. I'm just saying I hope that he's in his face telling him to figure it out. Okay. Do you want to ask me? Are you following along with me on Bobcat Nation?
I'm following along, man. You're doing good. You're doing really fast. You're reading faster than I can. Keep going.
Let's see. Bobcat fan 123. Vigen has many years as an offensive coordinator and knows what it takes to win a championship. I'm guessing in years to come, he will attempt to build the NDSU type model that he believes in and is accustomed to. 2 questions. How confident are you that this coaching staff will implement the changes needed on offense to make a deep playoff run this year? Oosh. Or will/should Vigen take over offensive coordinator duties moving forward?
All right. Hey, Thorny, you got to give. Here's how we're going to answer that question. On question number 1, percentages only. A number. How confident
do we even have to explain it, or are we just straight giving a percentage?
Just straight percentage.
How confident are you this coaching staff will implement the changes needed on offense to make a deep playoff run? Well, I don't know what the changes are, but currently I'm probably about 75% confident.
I'm 37%.
Ooh, that's a bad number. That's a bad juju number to pick. Say 38 or 36. Don't say the Griz number.
I like 37, man.
That's the Griz number.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's their special number.
All right. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with a prime number, 43.
Okay, so you're 43%. I am. I thought I was like giving it like a solid C, like a. I don't think they could, but I don't know.
Here, Bobcat 123. I'll just tell you straight up, man. I think we would have seen it by now. We've been struggling.
Yeah, you are right.
We've been struggling since we were banned. I think we would have seen it by now if we were going to make some changes. However,
you may be right.
The heat is not as hot as it has been since Saturday. So there's something there.
I will say that Vigen was like the most angry I've seen him all year.
Yeah.
So, which I think is good. I think it's good to get pissed off. He should be pissed off. I hope he
might go for some
uses that
ice cream.
Yes.
Dude, you mentioned TCBY on the podcast. Shout out to Thorny for mentioning TCBY.
I don't know any other national frozen yogurt chains.
You pulled in a TCBY reference.
Is there any other chains?
That brought me back to when I was like 10 years old in Great Falls, Montana, going to TCBY.
I don't even know if that place is around anymore. Do you know what TCBY stands for?
The country's best yogurt.
That's right.
Come on. You owe me a beer or something. Come on. That was a good line right there.
Yeah, there was one in Great Falls. We used to go there when I was a kid.
TCBY. That was so funny.
Will Vigen take over offensive coordinator duties moving forward? I don't know if he means this year or next year.
No.
I don't think so. I actually think one of the problems, people have been talking all year, how much of a hand has Vigen had in it? I don't think Vigen's had much of a hand in it. I think it's becoming clear that this is house right. So yeah. I don't know if that changes now. Maybe he has some more direction in terms of game planning or something, but I don't think he takes over play calling. Vim since 03, my man Vim.
Jeez.
What's more annoying, losing to Bobby Houck, watching the game with Griz fans while losing to Bobby Houck, paper cuts, or stubbing your toe? And I asked a follow-up question to this because I was asking, like, the last one, paper cuts or stubbing your toe, are we supposed to just pick between those two? Is that its own separate thing? Or are we supposed to pick which one is better of those two and then compare it to the other two? But of all these things, man, I probably just prefer to stub my toe and just get it over with. If I'm going to choose between 4 things here.
What's more annoying? I think it's losing to Bobby Houck. See, what I found last week was talking to Griz fans, talking to Mike, talking to Brent. They're good guys. Like, I mean, honestly, if we were watching
you didn't watch the game with them, yeah.
No, that's true. That's true. I haven't watched a
different MO
with a Griz fan. I don't think I actually have. I still just think losing to Bobby Houck. I know Bobby Houck is like a character you and cat fans in general just create, because he really is a character. Like, he's not the person we portray him to be. He might be in some facets, but I probably feel like he's just a normal dude who is just but he plays the role, man. He embraces the role. We've heard this before from other people. He embraces the role of who he's kind of built up. And yeah, I mean, it's fun to hate against him as a Cat fan. And so that's one of my thing, I think, is losing against Bobby Houck. Whatever. Yeah, I think that's probably the most annoying.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. When I said I would rather stub my toe, that's not the question. That's the least annoying of those options. I would probably say losing to Bobby Houck. Yeah.
Yep.
Typically, watching the game with Griz fans almost kind of takes the sting out of some things because they're going to, I don't know. I've been at Cat Griz parties when the Cats have lost, and it's not as bad as you might think it is.
Oh, my gosh. I think Vim was drunk the next time he wrote this next one. Are the Griz back? Will MSU ever get a Montana high school recruit to play for the Cats again?
No.
Can we hire Choate as a one-game consultant?
He's not drunk. He's going basically the same thing that Tom Cat did earlier. He's just playing, like going hyperbole on all the stuff that's going on at Bobcat Nation.
Yeah,
he doesn't think
we're not going to answer.
He's like, are the Griz back? Because those are all the over-the-top reactions going on right now on Bobcat Nation.
Fair enough. Serious question again from Vim. What is the best beer for a sad loss?
Strong and easy to drink. You want to be able to drink a couple that are going to affect you as quickly as possible while not like being a chore to drink. A nice stout 8-9% alcohol. That's where I'm going.
Yeah. I don't drink heavy beers. And contrary to what a lot of people think in this, or may think in this thing, I don't drink a lot of beer. I do enjoy beer, but it's not something I overindulge in a lot. I like to go whatever in the fridge, man. And honestly, there's probably a lot of cheap beer for me, Vim.
I do wonder what people think about our drinking habits. Like, I usually have 2 beers on the podcast. I definitely don't drink a ton outside of it.
No,
Game
we're
day,
not heavy drinkers. You and I are not heavy drinkers. I mean, we're sponsored by Jeremiah Johnson Brewing, and we talk about beer a lot, but that's kind of a little shtick we have.
I do like drinking. I probably like drinking more than you do, but I'm definitely don't drink a ton. Okay. Camo Cat just responded. It has to be hard alcohol. If we're actually like talking wake style here, like if I'm actually like really depressed about like a family death or something, hard alcohol is the way to go. Whoa, that took a dark turn. All right, moving on.
What?
I have a specific memory that's coming to my mind right now, and I'm getting all sad about it. So let's move on.
It's like 120. If you're still with us, I'm sorry. Thorny just took a shot of whiskey over there. Jeez.
I wish. All right. Joe Bobcat asked us a question about how good it is to be the 8th seed. If there's any place you'd rather be, we already kind of answered that. Is there anything else here? That looks like all for Bobcat Nation. Did we get one on Instagram?
I feel like we did.
You're the Instagram.
Oh
man.
Yeah, it's I got one from our friends FTG. Let me pull that up real quick. Oh my gosh, this is bad.
FTG tailgate.
Well, so the guys that do the FTG hats, you know what I'm talking about.
No, not really, but okay. Do you want me to read it? I pulled it up.
Oh, the FTG tailgate. Yes, I got it right here. Golden Coolie question, and also would love to trade stickers. To me, it appeared that the coaching staff was overwhelmed by the situation presented to them. Do you see how Vegan, despite stating the contrary, did not truly grasp the intensity of the importance of this game? Also, lifelong Montanan here, love your show. Oh, thanks. I forgot to read that last part prior to. Did you think that Coach Vegan did not grasp the intensity or importance of this game, Thorny?
I mean, probably not, but like we talked about, how is he to really know? Like, I guess you could have been able to do it, but I don't blame anyone for not being able to grasp it because it's its own entity. We talked about it. I mean, I don't really blame him necessarily for that. I think he wasn't as prepared as he could have been, but how much more prepared could you be, I guess?
Yeah, so I might disagree with you a little bit like that. I think just the momentum train that was Washington Grizzlies Stadium was just too much. I think the Cats had opportunities to stem the tide early on, and then once it got it going, I don't think that had anything to do with Vegan not being able to grasp the intensity of this game. However, the caveat to that is they were the aggressor. And that has been the difference underneath Choate. Choate was always the aggressor in this game. He knew how to play this game. Did Choate know how to win the other games that we won, Eastern, the Weavers, all this stuff to get to 9-2? Yeah, that's a different question. However, he knew how to win this game, and that's what endeared him to the Montana State faithful. Always will. He was the Griz Slayer, and that was his calling card. So being the aggressor in this game has so much importance to me. Like that was actually one of the most like realizations I had coming out of this game, Ryan, is this game is not to me so much about the football acumen, the football playing. It is just about being the most hyped and the most physical. Honestly, because the crowds behind you, the home field crowds or whatever you have, will just get behind you and you'll just ride that momentum. Like that is like the ultimate X factor in this game.
Yeah, if you get such a calm and collected and focused coach, then that works so well for games like Eastern Washington or Weber State. It doesn't work in Cat Griz.
No.
So I think you learn that. I think you learn that.
Of that.
I hope you learn that. Like, yeah, it's the opposite. Like it's 100% emotion and 0% like, like focus. I mean, you know what I mean. Like it's more about the emotion and the just being the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I hope he realized that he's got to change it up a little bit for next year. And he wasn't prepared, but it's his first time. I'm going to give him not a pass, but I'm going to hope that he learns from it. I'm not going to make any judgment. All right. I think it's all.
I think I have a winner, man. I think I have a winner.
We forgot to pick winner last time, I'm pretty sure. We've been asking Golden Coolie questions, then we just have not been picking anybody to send coolies to.
Golly. Speaking of which, if we read your stuff and you do not have a Golden Coolie, you know what to do. We've told you multiple times. Just email me. But I'm going to pick Vim because Vim has never submitted a question to us. And Vim, I don't think you have a Golden Coolie. I would love for you to have a Golden Coolie. So you can give me, I know you're a man of mystery. You could just sign your name Vim and just give me your address. I will send you a Golden Coolie. I'd be happy to do so.
He's going to have to use his Coolie inside out, though, because if he has one of our Coolies, it's going to slowly narrow down the list of people. Like he can't keep his anonymity if he's got one of these, you know.
I have no clue what you mean on that.
He's a smart man. He's not going to. Yeah. Anyway,
he won't reply to this message. Woo, Vim! Finally.
Yeah, Vim. We do our little clap there.
Woo!
I'll bring in the crowd, the Bobcat crowd.
Holy cow, man! It's a late one.
Good news is, man, we got the whole week off from podcasting. No instant reaction show or anything.
Yes.
Next, all we gotta do next time is preview an opponent. We don't even have a game to recap next time. Monday, we preview it. Let's take a week. Bobcat fans, let's all take a week for a mental health reset here. It's not the end of the world. I know it feels like it. There's football left to be played. There's goals left to attain. It hasn't derailed any of the major goals. The number one goal in my mind, national championship, we still have that on the plate. So let's go, Bobcat fans. Find us on Twitter, RRCatcast. Find us on the web, rrcatcast.com. Thanks to Jeremiah Johnson for being our sponsor. And Foley, let's get out here with the Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.